Do you know what the scariest thing about hyperinflation is? It is not prices rising by 10%. It is not 20%. It is the day you walk into a supermarket with $100 and realize it only has the purchasing power of $60 or $70 compared to a few years ago. That is why you need to know the 12 items to stockpile before hyperinflation hits. Because hyperinflation does not arrive with a loud explosion. It quietly takes away your purchasing power day by day. A box of medicine costs more. A bag of rice costs more. A trip to the grocery store costs more. Then one day, many families realize they are working harder but buying less. History shows that the people who suffer the most are not always those with the lowest incomes. Often, they are the people who believe everything will return to normal soon. Meanwhile, those who prepare early usually have a major advantage. They convert part of today's cash into things that will continue to hold their usefulness in the future. And the number one item may completely change the way you think about protecting your family's finances. 12. Coffee and tea. You can delay buying a new television. You can keep using your old phone for another year. You can even skip a vacation to save money. But for millions of Americans, there is one thing that is very difficult to give up: the morning cup of coffee. And that is exactly why coffee becomes one of the first items worth watching when inflation starts eroding people's purchasing power. A few years ago, many common coffee brands in the United States were typically sold for around $4 to $6 per pound. Today, it is not uncommon to see similar products on store shelves priced between $8 and $12 per pound, and even higher for premium brands. This is not a change that happened overnight. It is the result of years of accumulated pressure from droughts in Brazil, unusual weather in major coffee-growing regions, rising fertilizer prices, escalating fuel costs, and increasingly expensive transportation. What is interesting is that the coffee bean itself is only part of the problem. A bag of coffee on a supermarket shelf also contains the cost of packaging, roasting facilities, warehousing, transportation trucks, and labor. When every link in that chain becomes more expensive, the final consumer ends up paying the bill. But what makes coffee different from many other products is the psychological factor. People often think coffee is just a beverage. In reality, for many people, it is part of a daily routine. Some people start their day with the news. Some start with a walk. But millions of people start their day with the smell of hot coffee rising from the kitchen. That is why coffee demand often does not decline sharply even when the economy becomes difficult. Tea has a similar story. Although it is not talked about as much as coffee, tea still depends on weather, labor, transportation, and global trade. As those costs rise, tea prices will eventually reflect it as well. One major advantage of both coffee and tea is their relatively long shelf life. Unopened whole bean coffee typically maintains good quality for 1 to 2 years. Instant coffee can last significantly longer. Properly stored dry tea can maintain its quality for many years. Storage is not particularly complicated. Keep them in airtight containers, away from direct light, moisture, and high temperatures. The kitchen is often not the ideal place if the products are stored close to the stove or oven. If you want to stock up, do not buy in a panic. A simpler strategy is to take advantage of sales. Each time you shop, add 1 or 2 extra packages to your reserve and rotate them using a first-in, first-out approach. After a few months, you will have built a meaningful supply without feeling much financial pressure. And this is the part that is really worth thinking about. The problem is not that a bag of coffee costs a few dollars more. The problem is that coffee goes up, eggs go up, milk goes up, medicine goes up, gasoline goes up, electricity bills go up. Each one rises only a little. But by the end of the month, Many families look at their bank account and do not understand where the money went, even though they did not buy a single luxury item. Inflation does not always appear as a major crisis on the evening news. Sometimes, it simply sits quietly on the kitchen table every morning, and by the time a familiar cup of coffee makes you think twice before buying it, the battle against inflation actually began a long time ago. 11. Toilet paper and paper products. 2020 taught Americans a very strange lesson. In a crisis, the thing that disappears from shelves the fastest is sometimes not food. It is toilet paper. It sounds funny, but it is not funny at all when there is only one roll left in the house. Toilet paper is not the most expensive item in the supermarket. It is not luxurious, not nutritious, and does not make anyone excited to put it in the cart. But it has one extremely dangerous characteristic during inflation. It is almost impossible to delay. You can switch from beef to chicken. You can drink cheaper coffee. You can postpone buying new clothes. But very few families want to try living without toilet paper. Toilet paper is light, but bulky. It takes up a lot of warehouse space, uses space on trucks, needs large packaging, and depends on pulp, electricity, fuel, labor, and transportation. So when diesel rises, electricity rises, labor rises, warehouse costs rise. The small roll in the bathroom rises too. Not because it is better, just because everything needed to get it to you is more expensive. And here is the scary part. Toilet paper does not need to actually be in short supply to create a crisis. It only needs to look like it might be. A half-empty shelf can make an ordinary shopper immediately buy twice as much. The next person sees an emptier shelf and buys more. Within hours, real demand turns into fake panic, and fake panic still makes shelves truly empty. So stocking up on toilet paper is not a strange act. It is a way to remove one small but very irritating pressure from family life. Buy when it is on sale. Add a little at a time. Keep a reasonable backup supply. No need to fill the garage like you are preparing to open a toilet paper dealership. Just do not let your family end up paying the highest price, right? When everyone else is looking for the same thing too. During inflation, the most dangerous item is not always the most expensive one. Sometimes it is the cheap, ordinary item repeated every month, until the day you need it and realize the whole town needs it at the same time. If tomorrow the supermarket limited each person to only one pack of toilet paper, how long do you think your household would have enough? 10. Pet food. There is one number that surprises many people. Americans now spend more than $150 billion a year on pets. That is no longer a hobby. It is a massive industry. And within that industry, pet food is one of the biggest expenses. What is interesting is that dog and cat food are not really outside the inflation fight. They are competing directly with the human food supply chain. Beef, chicken, corn, vegetable oil, packaging, transportation, and fuel all affect the cost of every bag of food on the shelf. Over the past few years, many popular dry foods have risen from around $20 to $30 a bag to $40 to $60 or more. Some premium brands have risen even more sharply. For families with multiple pets, this is no longer a small increase. One large dog can consume hundreds of pounds of food per year. When prices rise by several dozen %, the year-end bill changes completely. But what makes this item different from coffee, toilet paper, or many other products is the emotional factor. People can postpone buying new clothes. They can cut back on entertainment. They can eat out less. But most pet owners will cut back on themselves before cutting back on their pet's food. That is why this industry can pass rising costs onto consumers more easily than many other industries. Another point many people do not notice is shelf life. Dry food usually has a shelf life of about 12 to 18 months if the package is unopened. So this is not an item to stockpile for 5 or 10 years. The goal is to create a safe enough buffer for your family and your pets, while taking advantage of current prices before costs continue rising. Experienced pet owners usually do not wait until the last bag is almost empty before buying more. They buy extra when they see a sale, rotate their supply, and always keep a reasonable backup amount. Not because of panic, but because they understand one very simple truth. When inflation accelerates, one of the hardest things to give up in the family budget is the food bowl sitting in the corner of the kitchen every day. If the price of dog or cat food rises another 50% next year, what expense would you cut first before cutting your pet's food portion? 9. Batteries. If I removed every AA battery, watch battery, blood pressure monitor battery, and emergency device battery from your home, you probably would not notice anything in the first few hours. But by evening, things would start to feel different. The TV remote stops working. The flashlight in the drawer does not turn on. The blood pressure monitor shows low battery. The glucose meter needs a replacement. That is when you realize a very uncomfortable truth. Many of the most important devices in the home actually depend on the smallest items. What is worth noticing is that batteries are not just a simple consumer product. Behind every battery are lithium, manganese, zinc, steel, industrial chemicals, production energy, and a global supply chain stretching across many countries. When metal prices rise, batteries rise. When transportation costs rise, batteries rise. When energy rises, batteries continue to rise. In recent years, many household batteries have increased significantly in price. A pack of batteries that once cost around $10 to $12 can now easily exceed $15 to $20, especially with major brands. But the reason batteries appear on this list is not the price increase. It is human behavior. Most people only buy batteries when they have already run out. Nobody plans battery purchases the way they plan food purchases. We wait until a device stops working, and that is the worst time to buy anything. During inflation, products bought in an urgent state are often the products that make consumers pay the highest price. Unlike many other household items, batteries have one huge advantage: long storage life. Many modern alkaline batteries can maintain performance for 5 to 10 years if stored properly. That means a small expense today can help you avoid buying at a much higher price in the future. However, the most common mistake is storing batteries in a hot garage or in the car. High temperatures reduce lifespan much faster than many people think. There is a great saying in emergency preparedness: people buy flashlights because they fear the dark. But the thing that truly has value is the battery inside. That is the essence of this item. Nobody brags about their battery collection. But when supply chains run into problems and prices keep climbing, the smallest items are often the ones people run all over town trying to find. And when that happens, the most valuable battery is not the one sitting on the store shelf. It is the one you bought before everyone else started looking. How many devices in your home right now would stop working immediately if all your backup batteries disappeared tonight? 8. Medical supplies. One of the biggest mistakes when preparing for inflation is only looking at food, because there is another type of cost rising just as quickly, and in many cases even more frightening: healthcare costs. That is why basic medical supplies like adhesive bandages, gauze, antiseptic, antibiotic ointment, burn cream, or insect repellent deserve a place on this list. Most people underestimate the value of these items because they are so cheap. A box of adhesive bandages costs only a few dollars. A tube of antiseptic does not cost much either. But that is the wrong way to look at it. You do not buy medical supplies to use every day. You buy them to prevent a small problem from becoming a large bill. A small cut ignored, a burn treated incorrectly, an infected wound. Things that seem simple like that can lead to costs many times higher than the value of an entire first aid kit. What is worth noticing is that medical products are also under pressure from the same factors driving inflation higher. Plastic used in packaging becomes more expensive. Industrial chemicals become more expensive. Energy becomes more expensive. Transportation costs rise. All of it eventually appears on the pharmacy shelf. And unlike many other consumer products, medical needs often cannot be delayed. If meat prices rise, you can switch to another food. If coffee prices rise, you can drink less. But when you need to treat a wound or care for a loved one with a fever, you cannot wait until next week to hunt for a sale. The strength of medical supplies is that the cost of stocking them is relatively low compared to the value they provide. A basic first aid kit can last for years if it is checked regularly and expired products are replaced. The important thing is not to have a very large first aid kit. The important thing is to have the right essentials when a situation happens. A box of adhesive bandages will not help you beat inflation. But it can help you avoid a mistake many people make: waiting until there is a problem before starting to prepare for it. Do you know exactly what your home first aid kit is missing most? Or do you only discover that when you truly need to use it? 7. Medication. There is a very strange rule in life. Medicine almost always costs the most at the exact moment you need it most. No one wakes up in the morning excited to buy Tylenol. No one sees cold medicine as an investment. But let one person in the family develop a fever at midnight. Suddenly, the distance from the bed to the nearest pharmacy becomes the longest distance in the world. That is why medication is completely different from food, coffee, or toilet paper. With other items, you still have choices. With medicine, many times you do not have time to choose. Over the past few years, healthcare costs in the United States have continued to climb, with per-person spending exceeding $13,000 a year. Behind a box of pain relievers is an entire system of pharmaceutical ingredients, chemicals, manufacturing plants, packaging, transportation, and distribution. When energy prices rise, medicine rises. When logistics costs rise, medicine rises. When imported active ingredients become more expensive, medicine continues to rise. But this is the part most worth thinking about. Most people think they buy medicine to treat illness. In reality, they buy medicine to buy time. A bottle of fever reducer can help you handle a difficult night at home instead of rushing to a clinic. A box of pain relievers can help you keep working instead of losing the entire day on the sofa. The true value of medicine is not in the pill. It is in the trouble that pill helps you avoid. That is why experienced people usually do not wait until they are sick to buy medicine. They maintain a small supply of common household products, such as pain relievers, fever reducers, or basic cold medicine. Not because they are pessimistic. They simply understand that the market always charges the highest price to people who have run out of time. If you see a can of soup go up by $1, you can wait until next week. If a bag of coffee rises in price, you can wait for the next sale. But when a loved one needs medicine right now, the smartest shopping strategy in the world no longer means much. 6. Stored drinking water. A bottle of water on a supermarket shelf seems like the simplest product in the world, but it is one of the most complicated products. That may sound unreasonable. Water is water. But in reality, what you are buying is not water. You are buying plastic, petroleum, trucks, warehouses, fuel, labor, and hundreds of miles of transportation. Water is just the passenger sitting inside the bottle. That is why whenever energy prices rise, water prices usually do not stay still for long. When oil prices rise, the PET plastic used to make water bottles rises with them. When diesel prices rise, transportation costs rise with them. When everything in the supply chain rises together, consumers eventually see it on the shelf. What is interesting is that most people do not truly understand how much they depend on water until the supply is disrupted. You can skip breakfast, you can postpone buying new clothes, but no one can negotiate with thirst. That is a negotiation humans always lose. This is also why many emergency preparedness experts rank water above food on the priority list. Rice is great. Beans are great. Canned food is too. But all of them become less valuable if the water supply has a problem. The strength of water is not profit. No one becomes rich by storing a few cases of water. The strength lies in removing pressure. When prices climb, or when everyone rushes to the supermarket because of an unexpected event, you do not have to join that race. Experienced people usually do not fill the garage with hundreds of water bottles. They build a reasonable buffer, store it in a cool place, keep it away from direct sunlight, and rotate it periodically. That is not preparing for the end of the world. That is preparing for the reality that the most basic things are often the things people take most for granted. Inflation has a strange habit. It makes people focus on expensive items and overlook the things that keep life running every day. But when you look back at history, the most valuable items are often not luxuries. They are the things you cannot live without. And water sits very close to the top of that list. 5. Soap and cleaning supplies. There is a very frustrating kind of inflation because it does not stand at the meat counter, does not sit on the gas price sign, and does not appear as one big shock on the bill. It sits quietly under the kitchen sink, in the laundry room, in the bathroom, and quietly takes more of your money every month. A bottle of dish soap rising by $1 does not make anyone panic. A box of laundry detergent rising by $2 does not make a family call an emergency meeting either. But that is exactly how inflation wins. It does not need to knock you down with one large bill. It only needs to bite into the budget through dozens of small, repeated expenses, until by the end of the month, you look at your account and wonder, what did I spend money on that made it disappear so fast? Soap, laundry detergent, dish soap, floor cleaner, bleach, disinfecting wipes. These items do not feel urgent when shelves are still full, but they are the basic cleaning system of a household. Without them, the home declines very quickly. Clothes start to smell. Dirty dishes pile up. Kitchen surfaces become unsanitary. A home that does not lack food can still fall into chaos if it is no longer clean. When plastic rises, dish soap rises. When chemicals rise, laundry detergent rises. When diesel rises, every shipment on a truck rises with it. You are not just buying soap. You are buying an entire chemical supply chain inside a bottle. And unlike many other items, you are almost certainly going to use them. 6 months from now, you will still have to wash clothes. A year from now, you will still have to wash dishes. 2 years from now, you will still have to mop the floor. This is not something you buy because you like it. This is something you buy because normal life cannot function without it. So buying soap and cleaning supplies ahead of time is not strange stockpiling. It is locking in costs for things you are definitely going to use. Buy when they are on sale. Choose types that last a long time. Avoid paying extra for overly expensive scents and packaging. Then keep a reasonable backup supply at home. During inflation, sometimes the money that makes you poorer is not in the big item. It is in the small bottles you use every week and never think about. And when a family starts having to think twice about doing laundry, washing dishes, or cleaning the floor, Inflation is no longer a number on the news. It has walked straight into daily life. If laundry detergent, soap, and dish soap doubled in price tomorrow, how long do you think your household would have enough? 4. Dry beans and canned beans. If hyperinflation truly appears, many people will discover that they misjudged what the most valuable foods in the home really are. Not steak, not seafood, not expensive foods, but the ordinary things they walk past every week without noticing. Beans are a perfect example. For decades, beans have appeared on the menus of communities that lived through war, economic downturns, and financial crises. Not because they loved beans more than every other food. They chose beans because the math was on their side. When meat prices rise, beans become more attractive. When budgets get squeezed, beans become more attractive. When people start calculating cost per meal instead of cost per product, beans almost always land among the winners. What surprises many people is that beans are not really competing with vegetables. Beans are competing with meat. A bag of dry beans for a few dollars can create many meals and provide a significant amount of protein at a much lower cost than many animal protein sources. That is why whenever beef or chicken prices rise sharply, sales of different types of beans often benefit. But the biggest reason beans appear at number 4 is not nutrition. It is their ability to fight inflation. A properly stored bag of dry beans can last for decades. That means you are locking in your food costs at today's price instead of the future price. Very few products in the supermarket let you do that. There is a fairly interesting saying in personal finance: the rich buy assets, the wise buy time. Beans do the second thing. When food prices rise quickly, the person who already has basic food at home is not forced to buy immediately. They can wait. They can observe. They can let the market calm down before making the next decision. A bag of beans will not make anyone feel rich. But if inflation truly accelerates in the next few years, many people may look back and wish they had paid attention to simple foods like beans a little earlier. 3. Frozen meat. There is a reason many families notice inflation before they see it on the financial news. They see it at the meat counter. A weekend BBQ that used to cost $40 or $50 can now easily exceed $80 or $100. In recent years, beef prices in the United States have risen sharply because of feed costs, drought, labor, and rising transportation costs. And what is worth noticing is that those pressures have not disappeared. They are still present throughout the entire food system. Many people think they are buying meat. In reality, they are buying an enormous supply chain. A piece of beef starts with corn, soybeans, fertilizer, fuel, water, farms, trucks, and processing plants. If just one link increases in cost, the final price on the shelf will change. That is why meat is often one of the first items to reflect inflation pressure. What is interesting is that meat is not just food. It is also one of the first things many families have to cut back on when the budget gets squeezed. When that happens, people begin to realize the value of buying ahead. A freezer with chicken, ground beef, or pork, bought at today's price, is essentially a way to lock in future food costs. But the greatest strength of frozen meat is not saving a few dollars. It is stability. You do not have to worry every time meat prices jump on the shelf. You do not have to change your menu just because the market has another price increase. During hyperinflation, the feeling of knowing you prepared ahead often has more value than the money saved. 2. Rice. If money is the fuel of the economy, then calories are the fuel of life. And very few foods in the world provide calories as efficiently as rice. A 20-pound bag of rice can contain more than 30,000 calories. Think about that. While many people look at a bag of rice and only see a simple food, In reality, they are looking at weeks of stored energy sitting in a small corner of the kitchen. That is why rice has fed billions of people for thousands of years and still holds a central role in most modern food crises. What makes rice different is not flavor. It is its ability to fight inflation. Once you buy rice and store it properly, you have fixed part of your food costs at today's price. White rice can be stored for decades if kept in a dry, airtight environment. Very few foods allow you to do that. During a period of rising prices, many people focus on complicated assets. But there is a much simpler truth. The money in your wallet can lose value over time. A bag of rice is still a bag of rice. It does not care about interest rates, the stock market, or tonight's economic news. That is why many families do not see rice only as food. They see it as a hedge against rising living costs. And history shows that whenever the economy becomes unstable, the simplest things often prove their value most clearly. If you could choose only one food to keep at today's price for the next 10 years, would you choose rice or something else? 1. Canned food. If you had to choose one single item to represent the ability to withstand inflation, many experienced people would choose canned food. Not because it is the cheapest, not because it is the tastiest, but because it solves the three biggest problems in a crisis at the same time: time, convenience, and storage. Imagine food prices rising another 30% over the next few years. Imagine a major storm, a long power outage, or simply a week when you do not want to run to the supermarket. A can of soup, a can of beans, a can of meat, or canned vegetables can go straight from the shelf in your home to the dinner table in just a few minutes. That is something very few other foods can do. What makes canned food special is that you are not just buying food. You are buying your own time in the future. In recent years, rising metal, energy, and transportation costs have pushed the prices of many canned products significantly higher. But when you buy them today, you are turning part of your current cash into meals that can last for years. And this is the most important thing. During hyperinflation, people often think the most valuable thing is cash. History shows the opposite. The most valuable things are often the things cash cannot buy when everyone needs them at the same time. A shelf full of canned food does not make anyone feel rich. But when prices spin out of control, it can provide something many people would pay a lot of money to have: calm. If a major storm caused supermarkets to close for 7 days, would you feel confident that what you have in your kitchen is enough for your whole family? A crisis rarely begins with a dramatic event. It begins when prices quietly rise week after week, month after month, until the family budget can no longer keep up. That is why the goal of today's video is not to make you afraid. The goal is to help you stay one step ahead. The families that get through difficult times the best are usually not the wealthiest ones. They are the ones who prepared a little earlier, bought a little ahead, and thought a little further into the future. A bag of rice, a few cans of food, some basic medications or essential household supplies may not feel special today. But in the future, they may provide something incredibly valuable: peace of mind and the ability to make choices. Now, I would like to ask you, if you could choose only 3 items from today's list, which ones would you pick to help protect your family from inflation? Share your thoughts in the comments below.